Right, yes, you did read right in that thumbnail, and that's how to ride with your saddle at full mast height. Because us dudes at GMBN are all about the dropper post and telling you how great it is, how to get it down out of the way when you're descending, when you're going out on rough stuff and all that. But we never talk about the old trusty seat posts. I learned the hard way. I learned to have it up high. So I'm going to show you a few ways how to ride with your saddle up high. Let's go. Okay, this is tip number one. Before you drop into the trail, just lower that saddle height by ½ an inch or an inch. I've lowered it by an inch, just to give you that little bit more clearance between your backside and your saddle, especially when you want to get up off the saddle and shift your weight over the back wheel when you're descending. So when you've lowered it that much, don't worry, because your pedal efficiency is going to be the same when climbing and on the flat roads. Oh, right. Thing is, when you're having your saddle up high like this at full mast, your riding style would change. When I have my saddle slammed on my drop post quite low down, I let my body bounce around the bike super aggressively. I can throw it about, be nimble, all that jazz. But having your saddle up high, my riding position changes a lot. My body weight, my torso, I lower it. So it kind of matches my top tube. And I'm quite precise, and I'm thinking a lot more where to put my body weight on the bike out on the trail. But what I do know is that I do use my saddle to push grip and my body weight through to that back wheel, or through down to the wheels, or through to my bottom bracket, to find a little bit more grip on the trail, especially if there's like a little G, a little force like here. See this little dip? I would sit down, lower my outside foot, sit down, push on my saddle, let my body weight bounce on that saddle to keep that body weight and that grip on my tires through the trail. It's interesting, it's different. Wow, look how sexy my bike looks with a high seat post. Look at it, look at it. It's like built for a mission. It's like gonna conquer this mountain. All right, anyway, enough of that. Let's talk about cornering, because that's the next thing. And I quite like having a high saddle when doing cornering, because I kind of sit into it to transfer my body weight through the seat post, down into my pedals and onto my back wheel, and get as much grip down to that wheel in a turn as possible, and kind of push out through to the next turn. I'm not saying you're going to just sit on your saddle and just let it bounce away and get through enjoying it. That's enjoying it too much, and it's not cost effective. You're not going to get enough pump, enough speed to carry out through down the trail. Also, when I find myself stood up over the bike, my legs are kind of way more stretched, and it's pushing my body weight over the front, and I haven't got enough grip in the rear when I'm doing a turn. So I find sitting down slightly to get as much weight down to that rear wheel to get more grip. It's cost effective, and you carry on through the trail. Right, when it comes to another technique of sitting down into your high saddle, is when you come to a flat turn like this and you're coming in quite fast, so you want to get as much grip down to your tires as possible. And being stood up over the front end, I always say it, there's not enough weight on the rear to get grip. So I kind of sit back into the saddle, put my foot out, and just let that saddle, you know, sit into that saddle to transfer all my body weight through to that rear wheel to get maximum grip on this kind of non-existent bermed corner, and then down there into the trail. Oh man, and to be quite honest, sat down on your saddle, foot out, makes me feel so moto. Feels good, feels aggressive, feel like I'm in control. Sat back in an armchair, being aggressive. Sat in an armchair, being aggressive. Sounds good. Let's keep going. Oh, right. Perfect having the saddle up when climbing, because it makes it super comfortable. You can sit forward and stuff like that. But when the trail gets rough like that, having the saddle up is, it gets a bit shaky. It gets a bit loose as well, because that saddle is going to be bouncing up into your bum. It's going to be pushing your weight forward over the front of your bike. When you're descending, you don't want your weight over the front. You want it all over the back. But this brings on to line choice. You got to pick your line very wisely. So it's all about line choice. So you got to pick the nice smooth line to stop that saddle from bouncing up around. I can see a number of lines here. I can see the outside line, I can see a center line, I can see a high line. The high line, the beginning of it, is a lot of roots. It's going to be rough. The downside, this side here, is quite smooth, but I'm scared I'm going to clip my pedal on this. The only choice I want to do actually, is to go over this old stump right here. But what I can predict is that when I lift up my front tire, my rear wheel is going to hit that, and it's going to be pushing my back wheel up, and the saddle's going to come up and it's going to bash me in the backside. Moving on through the trail, so I think that's going to be the roughest bit, a bit of a sketchy bit. Now there's two line choices. Basically there's three I can see. There's got the outside one, you got a middle one, and you got the right hand side one. For me, I'm going to go right. It looks smooth, there's a lot more roots, but it's smoother. Whereas the middle here has a little bit more rougher roots, bigger roots. The outside one here, there's a big drop. So I'm going to keep my wheels on the ground through this section here and into that next turn. Oh, okay. There you go. There's a drop, there's an obstacle, it's a jump. Now that's daunting. When jumping, having you settle quite high up, I recommend if you're going to hit any obstacle, dirt jumps, whatever, trail, flat tabletops, whatever, I'll recommend just slamming that saddle. It's going to be better, it's going to be safer, because you don't want that saddle hitting you in the bum, sending your way over the front in the air, and you're doing this and you land like this, or it just throws you over the bars. That's not cool. It's scary, it's horrible, it's unsafe. So you need to adopt a different body position with a high saddle when it comes to obstacles such like this little drop right here in front of us. What you want to do is have your elbows bent. You want to get into that little bit of a press up position. You want to bring your torso quite low to your bike. So you're bringing it quite level with your top tube. That brings your body weight quite central to the bike. Plus you want to let the takeoff do all the work. You want to bring in that bunny hop technique to clear the obstacle as well. But it's all about keeping your body weight quite central to the bike. You don't want it to be too far back because that's going to send you over the front. You don't want it too far forward because that's still going to throw you over the front, especially if the lip is a little bit sharp. It's going to hit that back wheel and send you over the bars. Whew! Look at that. A few tips on how to ride with your saddle quite high up into your backside. But your riding technique does change. Hopefully these little tips help you out when riding your saddle at full mast. Just remember, when you're going to hit some jumps, please, I can't stress it enough, lower that saddle because it is quite dangerous. It's not very safe. And also when you're at the top of the trail, it doesn't take much. Undo it, lower it as much as possible, get that saddle away from you because you're going to be a little bit more comfortable out on the trail. If you're worried, maybe sketch it, mark it, so you can put it back up when you get to the bottom to the right height. So hopefully these all helped you out. If you want to see another video, please click over here. If you're thinking of giving up mountain biking or want to restart riding your bike, Mr. Ashton is full of inspiration and he'll definitely help you out getting you back out onto your mountain bike. Smash that globe if you haven't subscribed already because you're missing out. There's so many more videos for you to watch. And if you liked it, let me know in the comments down below. Give it a thumbs up and I'll see you at the next one.